to iGen investing, IGI, if you will. I'm Alex.
And I'm Camden.
We are students here at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I myself am currently a finance student, freshman year.
And I am an engineering mechanics student, also a freshman.
And so what we're going to be doing is mostly startups or non-conventional stocks. Right now, mostly between the websites Republic and
Micro ventures.
And also
And some on Rally Road, which is alternative investing.
We most likely will not be talking about stocks you can find on the New York Stock Exchange. These will mostly be startups or just investing in objects and stuff like that. So today, to start off, we're going to be talking about Zephyr Aerospace, which is a startup on Republic.
Yeah, so basically, general stats of Zephyr Aerospace. They call themselves a lie-flat airline seat for economy class travelers. They have raised $491,000 of their, that's how much they've raised on Republic so far. They have roughly 1,900 investors. So essentially what this company does is they're trying to reform the economy class on airplanes by making seats that stack on top of one another, and so it offers each person more legroom and more space. Kind of like what first class would be now, but stacked. So there's a ladder that goes between the bottom seat and the top seat.
And we'll link we'll put a link to this, to the webpage here in the description. And so I guess let's get into it.
So before we start, we're going to try to rank these on a scale of 1 to 5.
Yeah.
So 1 is...
I would not invest in it, and I don't suggest anybody invest in it. 2 is I would not invest in it, but if you are really committed to it, then you can do that. 3 is, well, it's just
yes or no, depending on...
a toss-up.
Yeah.
4 would be I would probably invest in this, but if it doesn't float your boat, then you're not missing out too much. 5 is I'm gonna invest in this immediately, and I suggest you do that too. So it's a scale of 1 to 5, and basically how this is going to go is we're going to talk about it for a little bit, then each give our own individual rankings, and then come to a consensus on where to rank this. But sometimes we might not be able to come to a consensus. Sometimes we might just disagree entirely.
And again, we're not financial advisors, so we might say something that's really stupid or not at all factually correct.
We try to do a little bit of research before we come into here, but we're college students, don't got a lot of time on our hands, but we'll try our best. So let's get right into it. I personally, I'm hesitant about this because I just don't think it's practical. Because like the seats, so I feel like they take up way too much space because you're stacking them on top of each other, which I get adds another thing, but the whole point of it is to lay down. And if you're gonna lay down, if you're gonna add the space for that, that takes up at least 2 or 3 rows of normal seating. And that's a lot of space.
Yeah, my thing is just, passengers would maybe be more likely to fly in your plane, but you can only have so many of these seats on your plane. If you took out normal seats, I don't know what they're making seating for Boeings and Airbuses. So the seating on a Boeing 737 right now is 138 to 204 seats, and
you just wouldn't get that on here.
I can't see that. I could see like half that.
I don't think even because I think so. To do this, you're removing all 3 rows because it's a whole row is 1 seat, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're taking up at least let's give the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it's 2 rows that you're taking up, so that's 6 seats Well, and then you stack them. So that's 2 seats for where 6 seats would be. So that's a third. I don't see that being practical. And then they're going to upcharge. Then the price of it is going to go up by a lot. So you might as well, as a consumer, you might as well just buy a first class ticket on a normal airplane.
Yeah.
Or business class or something.
But this is also only for international flights, because people who fly locally would have no issues probably with. I mean, if you're flying like Chicago to New York, that's not a long enough flight to pay the premium for first class or for these seats.
But then why not? Like if you look at some of these airplanes that fly international, like overseas, the first class
it's really expensive.
Super nice. It's really expensive, but I just don't see this being any more cost effective. I think that like the lack of seating, the companies are going to need to make money somehow. So they're going to raise the ticket prices, and then that then reflects onto the consumer. And at that point, you might as well buy extra leg room or first class or business class or something.
I will say that one nice thing about their company is the minimum investment's only $100. So like it's not crazy high, so you could get in if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. But the perks
aren't really
are not. I mean, the only thing is the frequent flyer miles, but I don't think literally and metaphorically that this company will get off the ground.
Well, like when
so
you invest,
what are the frequent flyer miles really doing then if the company doesn't?
Is it just frequent flyer miles with their planes that have their seats?
I'd imagine.
Yeah, so if the company fails, your money's gone and the frequent flyer miles don't.
Yeah, like at least with some companies, the perks exist even if the company, like you get the perks immediately. This is like kind of gambling on whether or not the company will take off. And another concern I have about this actually is just if you're on the top row, some people can't. It's a hassle to get up and down. Some people don't want that. It's a major inconvenience, and it also becomes a safety hazard. If there's an emergency, you can't expect everybody sitting on the top row to just jump down. Like it's a process, you know. Mm-hmm. For some people, you gotta flip over, you gotta crawl down the ladder, and you know. And in airplane emergencies, sometimes you don't have that time.
And if you're like a mom who has like a 6-year-old, you can't sit with them, like right next to them, like you could on an airplane.
Like with babies, I understand you could probably fit them on the same
a baby
seat.
Can fit, yeah.
But there's got to be some cutoff of age, and then you're separating these families, and the baby's gonna or the child is gonna cause an issue. The mother's not gonna want to be separated from their child. It just causes an issue with everybody involved.
So if you're like a mother with a baby, do you automatically get the bottom seat? Because you're not going to climb the ladder with a baby.
Yeah. I don't know. And the bottom seats cost more too.
Oh, that could be it. Yeah, you could pay more for. And I can't really see from the pictures, but it looks like the overhead storage compartment isn't really there.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's room for it.
Which
I don't understand.
That's a big.
People want space for their bags and stuff. People don't always want to check their bags.
I mean, looking at these images on the website, there is a lot of extra space that you could put bags, like next to the seat, but I don't think people want to sit next to their bags.
Like no. And there's really no, like on a normal plane, like I'll toss my backpack between my legs on the floor.
Yeah. But
there's no logicality to that in this.
So they say there's a $20 billion market opportunity, and the International Air Transport Association believes that the number of air travelers will double by 2037, up to 8.2 billion people. And it's estimated that airlines will invest $20 billion in new seating solutions to accommodate more passengers. But I don't think this accommodates more passengers.
The number of air travelers will double by 2037.
Yeah.
See, I'm hesitant about that because
obviously the pandemic just.
Well, the pandemic destroyed
Yeah,
the airlines.
airlines.
But then another thing is, so obviously the population is going to rise, but new technology is rising, like the high-speed trains. They're talking about building one from California to Japan, I believe.
Oh, under
the Pacific.
Oh.
And I mean, who knows? I mean, there's been talk of that for forever now. But I feel like that's going to become a lot more common way of transportation too.
I would think that'd be
high-speed-
cheaper.
Yeah, high-speed
Cheaper, too.
trains. So that's going to hurt the airline business too. I mean, airline isn't going anywhere. Like, airplanes are going to be the mode of transportation for a while, but I don't see it growing at that rate because I mean, how big is the population of airline travelers now? I mean, the population is
Well, apparently it's 4. If you take half
4
of what it is,
billion.
it's 4 billion people, which is like half the
I
population. which I doubt
do
that.
not believe. I do not believe one bit.
I don't. Yeah, I
Like
don't,
we
I don't,
living here, like we kind of like take airplanes for granted, but certain parts of like world just don't
Yeah.
have that type of.
I don't see the airline industry growing like they say.
Yeah, it's an 100-year-old business industry, and I don't think it's really. I think it's reached its peak, and it might just.
Should I read why others invested?
Yeah, sure.
So, one person 5 months ago says, considering the current burden on the airline industry due to COVID-19 pandemic, I truly believe this could be a game changer for airline travel. When I saw it, I immediately wanted to know who had developed it so I could invest in the company.
And then another one says, I invested in Zephyr Aerospace because I believe in its innovative concept. I also love traveling too, but due to future restrictions brought in by COVID, traveling will become unpleasant. Current airplane configurations will make long-haul flights a nightmare, so anyone who brings a feasible design to the table, Zephyr Aerospace has done that, has my support.
This does seem like a COVID niche thing, because the seats are further apart and more comfortable. So this seems like a COVID type startup.
That's true.
But
I mean, who knows anything about COVID, but it'll go away eventually, I mean, it's definitely going to change our lives, but I don't think in 10 years, I don't think anything's going to be COVID-centric then. And then this last person said, this looked like a great opportunity to invest in a startup that helps people travel comfortably. Being on international flights has shown me that a seat which allows the customer to lay down would be a huge win for travelers and AMP, the airlines. I can foresee many airlines eventually getting on board and this becoming a norm for Airbus and AMP train travel. I look forward to seeing how Zephyr progresses over the next few years. I see this argument is that laying down on an airplane is beneficial, but once again, that's what first class does. Let's look at some of the comments, because there's a comment section on here.
So one is there any planned concern when travelers on the second floor have to see the stewardess when he talks about seatbelt, life checking, etc., which is a good point. And how much would it cost for airlines to replace their normal seats with Zephyr seats? And then this person says they should launch their own airline instead of selling to, which I could see this just being a very high-end airline if they did that.
Yeah.
Like just instead of
for the
first
elite.
class, it would just be their own flight.
Yeah.
Of like elite.
But then that's very niche because I feel like the elite of the world have like private jets. So like, where is the distinction between having a private jet and just traveling on Zephyr?
So this guy mentions the things we said about small kids and elderly people and taller individuals, and they responded that our seat is designed to accommodate the 98th percentile of all travelers. The center seats will have a drop-down wall to let families and couples sit side by side, but each seat is designed to offer complete privacy to each traveler. Handicapped and elderly travelers can utilize the lower level of seat. So I'm thinking in the middle of the plane, there's two seats right next to each other that have a drop-down wall between.
Okay.
so that you can pull it up if it's you and your kid, and pull it down if it's just you and someone else.
But where's the walkway then?
So it's a row on the windows, then the walkway, and then 2 seats, and then a walkway.
Oh,
Because
so
it's a big plane.
It's a
Yeah.
wide plane.
Because like on
I
a
see.
normal big plane, you have 2 walkways, 3 seats in the middle.
So this is aimed for 737s then, or
I think it
737s?
says Boeing and Airbus.
Well, because 737s are the normal 3x3. This sounds like, I think it's 7. This sounds like the big planes, like the wide planes.
Yeah, like an Airbus is a big plane.
747, I believe, is the one with the wide.
747. So an Airbus can fit 853 people because it's a double decker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Boeing 747 is the wide one, I believe. I'm gonna look at these images, make sure. Yeah, something like this. You see, that it's 2, 4, 2.
Yeah.
So-
So it'd be
so that would
one.
be-
So for every 2 seats, it would be
It's
one.
one.
Yeah.
So in that case,
There'd be a wall in the middle.
it would
drop
be,
down.
it would still be half then, the seats, because if it's 2, if it takes up 2 seats wide,
So half the seats.
so half the seating. That's still expensive. That's still.
Oh dang! Airbuses are kind of. Yeah, Airbuses are the same way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So half of, I mean, a normal plane ticket, an international plane ticket's expensive as it is, then double the price.
To break even on the.
Yeah.
It said that it's cheaper to build. The seats are cheaper to install, but
I don't
that doesn't
understand
make sense to me.
that. Yeah. And also, this removes the ability to sit up whatsoever. If I'm laying like
Yeah.
that for like 6 hours, I would feel like I'm in like some, I don't know, something that I wouldn't feel comfortable in. Just
mean-
laying flat for.
They've raised almost $500,000, so they're not doing awful.
But I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Their minimum was 100,000, and they met that by like 490%. But
I really, I don't know. I'm not feeling too hot about this.
the seat maintains the same seating density as existing premium economy class on wide-body twin aisle airplanes, 242.
242.
So maybe it.
I don't see.
And can
how.
it fit the same amount of not more passengers on planes without changing the current weight of what airplanes fly? How many aisles will this require? I.e. 232 or 121. So yeah, they're saying a 242 configuration. Like
I don't see how that would work. You're gonna be put next to someone. Yeah, how would the aisles work on that too? Because if you're traveling solo, you're gonna be laying down next to some stranger. It's kind of weird.
yeah, that doesn't seem like it could possibly fit.
Yeah, and then what's the aisle situation in that then? Yeah, 242 doesn't work. And then even if there is the dividing wall, if you're on the outside, if you're on the window seat and there's a dividing wall, you're stuck. They're confining you to. Because if it keeps
I think
the
it's
same-
just a dividing wall in the center seat, the middle 2 center seats.
I think what they're trying to say is because it'd be one on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So then it would only be 1 row wide. And how the hell are you gonna lay down 1 row wide?
Yeah, and if it's 2, are you gonna like go up the ladder and then climb over a person to get to your seat?
I think what they're saying by 242 is that it's one deep,
Oh,
or sorry, 1 wide, and then just stacked. But then I'm concerned about the depth of the.
242. Okay, so yeah, that is what we were thinking.
Yeah. So, but then,
So
but
it
then,
is the same amount of seats?
but then how long? How long this way?
I guess it is. I guess it would be the same seating, but
But then you need to
you
figure
can't
out
lay down. Yeah, with
exactly. Like the whole point is that it's laying down with like extra legroom. You can't do that if it's the normal distance between each seat, forward and backward. So there's clearly got to be some type of something.
Yeah,
So-
it's a cool idea. Like, their
Mhm.
heads are in the right place. Like, traveling on an airplane does kind of suck if you're not rich,
Yeah.
but
Like, I love the idea, and if it was practical, like I would love to go on an airplane with this, but the price would be way too expensive, and it's
Yeah.
just not practical. I think I'm ready to come to a verdict on this.
Yeah, I think I have a number in mind. Yeah, like the perks aren't that good either from investing.
Yeah.
Like we said.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 1 on this.
Or you were gonna go with a 1.
I'm gonna go with 1. I just don't see it. I don't think it's practical. I love the idea, the concept, but good luck finding that niche that's willing to pay for that, as opposed to just because if you're gonna pay thousands of dollars for a seat, you're just gonna get first class.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you already have that money, because you're either gonna buy the cheapest seat or you're gonna buy a luxury seat.
And if you go on a plane that has these as the economy, you have no choice between these and whatever first class would be.
Yeah.
So if they're the same price, you're
Mhm.
kind of screwed.
And yeah, I don't think it's gonna take off.
Funny.
I just don't see the practicality of it.
I was gonna say, I agree with you, but I was gonna say 2, because I think this could just be seen as a luxury.
Mhm.
Like, if they went the direction of just converting planes, they would just be luxury planes.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't invest because I don't think that's a great thing. Like, there's not a lot of substance there. It's
Yeah.
pretty niche. People have private jets who are rich.
Yeah.
And
Luxury planes, or because
it's already saturated.
Yeah, and like there's charter planes. Like you're like I said, like you're either gonna buy the cheapest seat or you're gonna.
By the most expensive seat.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just trying to get from point A to point B, because this is just for international travel.
Yeah.
You'll buy the cheapest seat.
Mm-hmm. Then if you're gonna pay the extra money.
You might as well fly first class.
Yeah.
But if they could somehow manage to keep the tickets and the capacity the same,
Mm-hmm.
well, then that's like a 4 or a 5.
Well, yeah.
But I don't see
I
how
don't
they
see the
can.
practicality of that. It's just too. They say they will, but that's just. If they could, I would say 4, but they can't. There's just no way that would work. If they're advertising extra legroom, the ability to lie down, there's no way they can keep the same amount of seats forwards and backwards.
Yeah, like, looking at this picture, it looks like it's 3 seats.
Yeah.
Deep, at least.
At least I'd say probably 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be personally investing in this.
I will not be investing in this.
But if you feel so inclined to, after everything we've been, the link to their fundraiser or their Republic account will be in the description. $100 minimum, and I think that's the lowest on Republic. There are some
Yeah.
companies that are a lot higher, so $100 isn't that bad.
I wouldn't suggest investing in this, but
And you got 58 days left to do it. But again, we're not financial
so that's
advisors,
November 3rd.
so we cannot tell you what to do.
58 days from now would be Thursday, December 31st. So you have until
Till
the
the end
end
of the year.
of 2020 to invest in this.
I think, yeah.
So,
Yeah, January 1st, 2021 is the deadline.
yep. That's that.
They've
Thank
met their
you
funding
for-
goals, so don't feel bad if you don't invest. But
Yep.
yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
that is.
Yeah. Thank you for watching the first episode of iGen Investing, or IGI. And have a great day.